WWE Evolution 2, in a shocking ending, caught everyone off guard. You thought you knew what WWE was going to do in the main event when Rhea Ripley stepped into the Swerve Circle and challenged IYO SKY for the Women's World Championship. Except there was one thing that you didn't think, and it actually happened. Yes, that is what happened on Sunday, July 13th. Many people, including the betting odds, they expected Rhea Ripley to walk into hot Atlanta and defeat Naomi for the Women's World Championship. I thought it was going to happen. We had a referee bump after IYO SKY accidentally hit a missile drop kick to Jessica Carr and knocked her out. They brawled into the grandstands, and IYO SKY hit a dive off some production equipment. But then things got back into the ring. They went back and forth, and it looked like Rhea Ripley was about to win the Women's World Championship until, well, an interesting music started to play. And that was Rhea Ripley hearing Naomi running down to the ring with Money in the Bank in her hand, something in which WWE fans anticipated it happening at SummerSlam. She had been targeting Tiffany Stratton, our women's champion, possibly cashing in on Jade Cardiel and screwing over her arch rival. Instead, it was Naomi cashing in Money in the Bank in this Women's World Championship match, making it a triple threat match, hitting IYO SKY with a briefcase, throwing Rhea Ripley into the ring post, hitting her split-legged moonsault on IYO SKY with the referee counting 1, 2, 3, and holding up the Women's World Championship. That's what Naomi did at Evolution 2. That is where WWE is moving forward. And for one, I think it's a welcome change, moving her over to Monday Night Raw. But with this heel turn, Naomi has reinvented her character and reinvented her career once again. And now she is our Women's World Champion. Triple threat women's Intercontinental title match: Becky Lynch, Lyra Valkyria, Bayley. One of, if not the best matches of the night. One of the best 2025 women's matches you will ever see. This was wrestling. This is the foundation of which women's wrestling was built upon, and it was an absolute banger. When we talk about legends in this game, we talk about Bayley, we talk about Becky Lynch, and I think we will think of Lyra Valkyria. These women went out there and absolutely put on a clinic. This is a situation in which WWE said, okay, we're going to bring back this show. And it is a classic example of, if you can't go last, you must go first. And they absolutely did that. They crushed it. You could not have asked for more out of these two contenders, right? And out of these three women. Absolutely crushed it. So props to WWE. Props to these women for allowing them to go out there, giving them the time, and doing what they do best. And that is absolutely knock it out of the ballpark. Just phenomenal, phenomenal stuff. JC Jane retains the NXT Championship over Jordynne Grace. How is this? Well, I can explain it to you, and it's pretty straightforward, and it actually makes a ton of sense. You probably should have saw it coming, and if you didn't, well, surprise, surprise. So JC Jane controlled the majority of this match. They had Grace fighting from underneath for whatever reason, even though not a lot of people take JC Jane as a worthy champion, but hey, it is what it is. So Blake Monroe, she was on the outside, and there was a bunch of outside interference from JC Jane's entourage, if you will. And they decided to have Jordynne Grace lay out the entourage. And she was holding the NXT Women's Championship. And all of a sudden, Fallon Henley got on the apron, distracting the referee. And that allowed Blake Monroe, a.k.a. Mariah May, to hit Jordynne Grace in the back with the belt. This allowed JC Jane to hit a power slam move. Could have been her finisher. I'm not really for sure. And after the match, it was Blake Monroe handing the championship to JC Jane. So not only did we not get a title change here, not only did we get Jacy Jayne going over, but we got a heel turn from Blake Monroe. Now, Blake is a much better heel than she is a babyface. So I'm fine with this decision. Not a huge fan of them keeping the belt on Jacy Jayne because no one believes that she's a worthy champion. She's not a believable champion. But now we're going to get a Worlds Collide title versus title. Jacy Jayne versus TNA Knockouts Women's World Champion at Slammiversary. So there you go. So the Fatal 4-Way for the Women's Tag Team Championships were quite interesting. We had Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez defending the titles against the teams of Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, Asuka and Kairi Sane, Sol Ruca, and Zarya. What's interesting is WWE has finally cracked the code when it comes to Charlotte Flair's babyface run. She's officially a babyface. WWE has been able to crack the code. What do I mean by that? Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss were so over in this match, especially Charlotte Flair. I mean, over like Rover. This is something that WWE has been trying to do for years. This is something that Charlotte Flair recently talked about, how she would love to be a babyface if the fans would just acknowledge her. Well, they've acknowledged her. So even though Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez walked in and will walk out as the champions, I think there's a legitimate argument to be said that they deserve to have the honor to drop the titles to Roxanne Perez, to Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, because they've earned the right. I really do believe that. So we'll see what they end up doing, but very interesting development. Tiffany Stratton putting her women's championship on the line against WWE Hall of Famer Trish Stratus. It amazes me every single time Trish Stratus steps inside that squared circle and goes in there under those bright lights and performs. It's like she never left. And, you know, when we talk about GOATs, I don't think we talk enough about Trish Stratus. Her ability to go out there and perform in any decade, in any situation against any opponent on any given night. Trish Stratus goes out there and just absolutely performs. Now, she obviously fell short in this one. It was not a surprise. I don't think many people thought that Trish Stratus was going to go in here and walk out as the women's champion. But man, oh man, did she make you believe. She made you believe multiple times in this match that she was going to get her done. She was going to beat Tiffany Stratton and she was going to become an 8-time women's champion. In the end, it was Tiffany hitting the moonsault off the top rope, landing right on Trish's face. I mean, she nailed her with this thing. But it was a great performance by both stars. I thought it lived up to the expectations. And I'm very curious to see what they do with Tiffany Stratton next. We had a battle royale with the stipulation that the winner would receive a championship match of her opportunity, or her choosing, at Clash in Paris. We had Nikki Bella, Piper Niven, Stephanie Vacker, Natalya, Maxine Dupree, Nia Jax, Ivy Niles, Zelina Vega, Julia, Lash Legend, Izzy Dame, Tatum Paxley, Giuliani Jordan, Lola Vice, Jada Parker, Mishan, Candice LeRae, and B-Fab. In the end, it was Stephanie Vacker. The final four was Nia Jax, Nikki Bella, Stephanie Vacker, Lash Legend. Nikki was eliminated by Lash Legend before the babyfaces teamed up to eliminate Jax. Stephanie with the Devil's Kiss on the apron to eliminate Legend. I like this move because Stephanie Vacker is a big-time star. I personally thought that Nikki Bella was going to win this match and go and put over whoever the champion that she was going to face. They're not doing that. Props to WWE for going for the future. So we had the blow-off match between Jade Cardiel and Naomi. No holds barred, blow-off match. Jade went over Naomi at WrestleMania. That match was not very good. This, with the bells and whistles, with the trash cans, the kendo sticks, the tables, the chairs, toolboxes, and etc., much, much better. We knew it was going to be much, much better because they had a little bit more fire to this feud. They had a little bit more smoke to this feud. And anytime that you can have that, and especially in a blow off type situation, and a few months removed, having Jade being much more over than she was going into WrestleMania, having Naomi, who is still Miss Money in the Bank, Jade obviously being a someone who is number one contender, getting a title shot at SummerSlam. Those are a lot of factors into making this a much, much better match than their SummerSlam, or excuse me, their WrestleMania encounter.